Hello, everybody. My name is Mike Tomorrow, and I want to welcome you to another episode of My Life with Asperger's. Today, we're going to talk about the redefining autism. As you may heard, they they are trying to redefine the definition of autism, and as you may know, Asperger's now is part of autism, or is in the autism spectrum. But the new definition that they want to come up with wants to remove Asperger's from that list. And on this video today, we're going to talk about why we cannot have it removed, and what we'll do to several of us Aspies who are on the spectrum. We'll soon find out that we're not on the spectrum, you know, and what it could cost us. Now, let me see here. I got the email from the USAAA, and they still talk about how to redefine autism. It's like they say, do not remove Asperger syndrome or other autism subtypes from the DSM. Now, the DSM is their book from how to define disorders and all that, and disabilities, and I don't know the full details on it, but I do not think they should remove it. I think they want to remove it because they want to cut back on money on them and the diagnosis and all that. They want to cut back on all that so that there's less money given out to the public. I don't think that's a right decision for them to remove it, or they want to remove it. I don't think if they remove it, I don't think it'll be the right decision, because there's several of us in this country and this world that are going to lose out on benefits. It's hard enough for me to try to find a job with a 4-year degree that I have. And it's hard for everybody else in the economy too, but it's especially hard for us because we have a hard time socializing with people, and we have a hard time dealing with people. We might have a hard time dealing with the job that we're going to have and whatever. They should not remove it, because what's going to happen? If they remove it, we're not normal people. We have Asperger syndrome, and it's like, if you remove it from the autism spectrum, where are you going to put it? Are you going to classify us as normal people? I don't think so. My mom and dad took all my life, or basically most of my life, to try to figure out what was wrong with me. And now you're telling me that they're going to remove it. My parents had a very hard time. They tested me, or not them personally, but they brought me to doctors in Boston when I was a child, when I was a young kid, and tested me. And then they brought me to doctors in Springfield when I was growing up, and they tested me too. It wasn't until 2006 that they determined that I was on the Asperger syndrome. They had a hard time finding out what was wrong with me, and I had to wait 22 years of my life to figure out what was wrong with me. And now they want to remove it from the spectrum? Give me a break. It's not fair. I know it's hard because most people are being tested, and they're either on the spectrum or not, but you gotta help those who are on the spectrum. The government wants to reduce their funding to those that have disabilities. I don't think that's going to be right. You know, if you keep cutting jobs and cutting hours that companies do, and you allow companies to do that, you know, there's going to be more people on food stamps, more people on disability, more people on welfare, more people out of work, more people that cannot pay their bills, like me. I have to depend on my mom and dad for help on bills. You know? It's like, give me a break. You know, I'm a very hard worker, but yet, do you care that I work very hard? Do you care that I have a disability? Do you care? Do you care about life? You know? We're all trying to make a living. We're all trying to make the money that God wants us to have money, you know? His money, I should say. You know, still, we use his money for granted too. You know, I know partly because of the economy, but it's crazy that they want to remove Asperger's. You know, Asperger's is something that's going to be here for the rest of our lives unless there's a cure for it. You know, you can't remove it from the autism spectrum. Give me a break. I was so happy that I found out that I had Asperger's in 2006. But yet, the first 2 years of my life, or the first few years of my life, I was trying to figure out, how do I tell people I have this? You know? It was very hard for me to tell people that I have Asperger's when I first had it. But then as I got along and looked up the resources, you know, and as I did the autism walks, I figured more and more about it. You know, I'm real happy. But if they want to take it away, the Asperger's, from the definition of autism and remove it from the spectrum, you gotta be kidding me. I may not know the difference between autism and Asperger's, but still, you have got to be kidding me if they want to remove it from the definitions. You can't do that. You can't remove it from the autism spectrum. You know? You know what I mean? I read you a definition of what Asperger's syndrome is when I did one of the past episodes of the show. I think it was episode 22. So you might want to check it out. And I'll explain it on there. I explained it on there what the definition of Asperger's is. You know? And what the symptoms are and what the aspects of it, and you know what I mean? But now they want to remove it from the autism spectrum, and I already explained it. But you know, it should not be removed. It's a very difficult situation. You know, there are people like me that are going to be out of a job soon, probably, not sure when, but and we're going to look for work. You know, it's very hard. I don't understand some of the concepts of life. It's very hard for me to do that. It's very hard for me to understand that. I'm frustrated that they want to remove it. They shouldn't remove it. If they want to remove it, they have got to be out of their mind if they want to remove it. You know? Asperger's, autism, and then you have childhood dyscognitive disorder, Rett syndrome, and persuasive developmental disorder, PDD, are all part of persuasive disorders, developmental disorders. You know, my parents thought when I was growing up I had late developmental skills or something. You know? But let me read you something. Let me read you the classifications here, and you better understand them. Autism is characterized by delays or abnormal functioning before the age of 3 years in one or more of the following domains: social interaction, communications, and or restricted, repetitive, and stereotyped patterns of behaviors, interests, and activities. Social impairments are marked by poor use of nonverbal communications, difficulty in peer relations, lack of social emotional reciprocity, and lack of shared enjoyment. Communication, be patient with me when I read these, okay? Communication difficulties may include failure to develop speech, use of stereotyped or delayed echolalia, and difficulties maintaining conversations. Social and communication impairments may also cause a lack of symbolic or imaginative play. Restricted and repetitive behaviors may include unusual preoccupations with narrow interests, inflexibility, non functional routines, stereotyped and repetitive mannerisms, and preoccupations with parts of objection. Okay. Asperger syndrome can be distinguished from autism by lack of delay or deviance in early language development. Additionally, individuals with Asperger syndrome do not have significant cognitive delays. An individual with Asperger syndrome typically demonstrates obsessive interest in a single topic or activity. Other symptoms include repetitive routines or rituals, peculiarities in speech and language, inappropriate affect or social behavior, problems with nonverbal communications, and clumsy or uncoordinated motor movements. Because of these difficulties, individuals with Asperger disorders often have trouble interacting with others. So basically, I read you the two definitions of Asperger's and autism. And you may have noticed me when you see me out in public, or when you're working with me, or when you're having fun with me, or you may notice these behaviors in me. You know what I mean? I know it's hard, but it's because of those, they should keep it. You know, let me read you the others that I have on here. Unlike autism and Asperger syndrome, childhood distinct integrated CDD is characterized by significant regression or loss of functioning after at least 2 years of typical development. A child who is affected with this condition may lose communication skills, nonverbal behaviors, motor functioning, and or skills that have already been learned. Rett syndrome appears only in females and is characterized by multiple defects after a period of normal functioning after birth. At onset, Rett's disorder is characterized by deceleration of head growth, loss of purposeful hand skills, loss of social engagement and language, and poor physical coordination. PDD, not otherwise specified, is considered subthreshold autism and atypical autism because it is often characterized by milder symptoms of autism or symptoms of in only one domain. Persons with PDD-NOS may demonstrate persuasive defects in the development of reciprocal social interactions or stereotyped behavior, but do not meet the criteria of a specific persuasive developmental disorder or other physiological disorder. So, and here's a little bit of the thing about autism spectrum disorder in the DSM-5. And you're going to learn about what DSM-5 stands for when I read this. Autism Spectrum Disorder, ASD, is a proposed revision to the Diagnostics and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders 5. This is the 5th edition, which will be released in May 2013. The new diagnosis will encompass current diagnosis of autistic disorders, Asperger's disorder, CDD, and PDD-NOS. Rather than categorizing these diagnoses, the DSM-5 will adopt a dimensional approach to diagnosing disorders that fall underneath the autism spectrum umbrella. It is thought that individuals with ASDs are better represented as a single diagnosis category because they demonstrate similar types of symptoms and are better differentiated by clinical sapphires and associated features. An additional change to the DSM includes collapsing social and communication defects into one domain. Thus, an individual with an ASD disorder will be described in terms of severity of social communication symptoms, severity of fixated or restricted behaviors, or interest and associated features. Now, I partly disagree with that. Alright? Now, I just read you what they say was going to be. And I'm sorry for messing up on a few words, but my reading skills are not really that good. I know I should be reading more books instead of logging onto the computer, but I'm not interested in reading books, and I'm not interested in reading about stories. You know, I had to do it for English classes when I was growing up in schools and colleges. I don't need to do it here right now because I'm not going to school no more because I graduated. Though it would help my reading skills, but I have a problem reading. I do have to confess that. It's hard for me to pronounce some words. I'm sorry to say, but if they don't understand that, that's their fault, you know, or that's their whatever. I'm not going to deal with that. You know? But I hope that Asperger syndrome will still be a part of it. I hope some of those other ones I talked about will still be a part of it. It's very hard for me to deal with how they're going to change it. I hope they don't change it at all. I hope they leave Asperger's in there. Because if they don't, you know what's going to happen? People with Asperger's are going to lose out on benefits and that people with autism have, and you know, we're not going to get our disability, and you know. And speaking of that, did you know that I'm going to have to apply for disability benefits? I'm going to try to, and hopefully they'll let me have them, because with the job situation has going on and how I have the disability and I can't pay for some of my bills, I have to still have mom and dad help me. It's like, give me a break. I have, you know, I was documented with a disability. I'm documented with a diagnosis. Give me a break. You cannot, you know, if you remove it, you're gonna affect thousands and whatever. You're gonna affect all of us that have Asperger's, and you're gonna classify us as normal. There's no way you can classify us as normal. We are not normal. I'm sorry to tell you, we are not normal people. You may think we are normal. You may come up to me and you think I'm a normal person. You may think that by how we have a conversation or how I meet you or, you know, how I'll talk to you. You may think I'm a normal person. Some people, you know, I have known some people, they think I'm normal. They thought I was a normal person until I told them that I was diagnosed with Asperger's or autism. You know, they thought I was a normal person. They don't see it. You know, people don't see it in me. You know, but I'm not a normal person. They they may try to classify us as normal people, but we are not normal people. I'm sorry. You know, why was I placed in special need classes then? If I wasn't a normal person, you know, why did I go to? Why did it take me like 7.5 years to finish college? Why did I go to a special school for 10 years of my life? Answer me those questions. Why? And why did it take until 2006 before they figured out it was Asperger syndrome? You know? It's like, give me a break. You know, I don't want any other parents to go through what I have done in my life. Like, going through life without figuring out what was wrong with me or what was wrong with them. You know, I don't want any other parent to deal with that. I don't want any other individual dealing with that. You know, I'm sorry to drag out here, but you gotta understand that they don't need to remove it and take it away from us. They should not take it away from us. And if they do, they'll be sorry. I'll tell you that much. And I'm going to end this episode. So I hope to see you on another episode of My Life with Asperger's. And if you have friends that would be beneficial and educational, have them watch these episodes because they are the best episodes around. I may have not get that many views, but you spread it around to your friends, they'll spread it around to their friends, and these videos will be great videos. Trust me. And if they don't care, I'm sorry, but that's their loss. So make sure we get more fans on these videos. But that is going to be all for me for right now. I will talk to you guys later. Hopefully we'll have a different topic we'll talk about. And hopefully I can be more fun at it. Alright? See you later. Bye for now.